Hello there, welcome back to Brilliant Minds. Today we're going to talk about Florence Nightingale, a girl whose courage and kindness lit up the world, quite literally. You might know her as the Lady with the Lamp, but how did she get that name? Let's find out. Florence was born in 1820, into a very wealthy English family. She had fancy clothes, big houses, and tutors who taught her languages and mathematics. But unlike many children of her class, she wasn't interested in parties or gowns. Instead, young Florence spent her days helping sick animals in the garden, or visiting poor villagers with baskets of food. She even kept a notebook where she recorded how many people she helped, almost like an early scientist. From the very beginning, Florence felt a strange calling. She said it was like a voice telling her she was meant to serve others. When she was a teenager, she told her parents she wanted to become a nurse. Now, at the time, nursing wasn't considered a respectable job. Hospitals were dirty, dangerous places, and most families would never allow their daughters to go near them. Her parents were horrified. They wanted her to marry a rich gentleman and live a comfortable life. But Florence was determined. She studied on her own, learning everything she could about health and hygiene. She traveled to Germany to train at a hospital, and then worked in London, where she quickly became known for her skill and organization. Then came the Crimean War in 1853. Thousands of British soldiers were injured and sent to makeshift hospitals in Turkey. Reports came back to England that conditions were dreadful. No clean water, rats scurrying across the floor, soldiers dying from infections more than wounds. The government finally begged Florence to go. She gathered a team of nurses and set off across the sea. When she arrived, the scene was worse than she could have imagined. Imagine a giant Minecraft server full of chaos, but in real life, wounded men everywhere. No order, no supplies. Florence didn't panic. She rolled up her sleeves and got to work. She demanded clean sheets, fresh water, and proper drains. She made sure food was cooked safely, and she scrubbed the floors herself when nobody else would. Slowly, the death rate dropped. Soldiers who once expected to die began to recover. Every night, long after the doctors had gone to sleep, Florence would walk the wards carrying a simple oil lamp. She checked on every soldier, speaking kindly, listening to their worries, and making sure they knew they weren't alone. The men began to whisper to each other, "Here comes the lady with the lamp." The nickname stuck. Florence's work didn't stop after the war. She returned to England as a national hero, though she herself never wanted fame. She used her influence to set up the first professional nursing school at St. Thomas's Hospital in London. She wrote books about hospital design, proving that clean air, good light, and fresh water saved lives. Many of her ideas are still used in hospitals today. Of course, Florence's life wasn't easy. She suffered from poor health for much of her life, often confined to her bed. She faced criticism from politicians who didn't like her outspoken ways, and she had to fight hard for every change she made. But she never gave up. She believed that numbers, facts, and kindness together could transform the world. One fun fact is that Florence also loved mathematics. She created colorful charts, like pie charts you might use in school, to show the government how many soldiers were dying from disease compared to battle wounds. These charts were so powerful that even stubborn leaders couldn't ignore them. You could say she was one of the first people to use data to make a real difference. Florence Nightingale lived a long life, and by the time she passed away, nursing had become a respected profession for women across the world. Her lamp became a symbol of hope and care, carried in ceremonies by nurses even today. So what can we learn from Florence? That courage doesn't always mean rushing into battle. Sometimes it means standing firm when everyone tells you you're wrong. Sometimes it means scrubbing floors, writing letters, or simply holding a lamp so others don't feel afraid in the dark. Florence Nightingale showed that even one determined person can bring light to the darkest places. And maybe you, in your own way, can too. Thanks for listening. We'll see you again soon for another amazing story.